Hello, I wanted to show everybody that I was not making this up. This is View PDF. I don't know where it's from. Uh, Thomas Matthew Crooks seen in old Black Rock ad. Laura Loomer shares video. Right there. Right there, yeah. They took down the video right after everything happened. Doesn't that sound funny to you? Does not that sound funny? If you want to read it, I'll leave a linky. See, I don't know. I don't mistake crap very often because I hear things people don't. See, we got another interesting thing right here. This is Robert Jovia Esquire. He's a defense attorney. I watch him sometimes. I used to watch him when this began, but now he's kind of getting me back into watching him because he's finding some good stuff. Now, let's see if we can't figure this out. I'll leave a link to the whole thing if you want me to. Hang on, just gotta.
You and your friends back here on the next one. But we're not done yet because this is live, baby. We've got a whole nother story here. So let's get to it because this is also very interesting. The Trump assassin made some very interesting trips, some of those to Washington, D.C. New reports from the Oversight Project, you know them on X, have done geo-targeting and followed him around to various states and locations. We're going to go through that. And there's a new report from Just the News that says that he also was using multiple encrypted apps and had multiple connections, the shooter, to various other foreign countries. We wonder what that's all about. Johnson has released the number of shell casings found near the body, and other Congress people, including this 70-year-old man, show us how to walk on a sloped roof. You're not going to believe how he does it. Wait until we see it. But first, we have this new report from the Oversight Project. They are on X at Oversight PR, and they have been doing some outstanding work and reporting. So make sure you're following them. And we are reposting this right now. If you're following along at home, you'll see it at the top of our timeline. Here is what they dropped. It says, we found the assassin's connections through our in-depth analysis of mobile ad data to track movements of Crooks and his associates. And this is something that actually happens. So you can purchase search data in bulk and aggregate. You can search for geodata, different devices, pinging off stores, pinging off different locations. It's all out there. You just have to know how to find it, buy it, and then utilize it. So they've done this. They went through probably some ad network, mobile ad data, and they're tracking the movement of Crooks and his associates. Now, to do this, we tracked devices that regularly visited both Crooks' home and his place of work, and we followed them. So you can see how they're doing this. To use a Kamala tool, Venn diagrams. There's a bunch of different devices that visited this address. There's a bunch of different devices that visited the work address. So if we overlap those, are there any in between that visited both? Probably Crooks. So they've done that. And here's what they found. Someone who regularly visited Crooks' home and his work, maybe it was Crooks or someone else, also visited a building in Washington, D.C. in Gallery Place. This is the same vicinity of an FBI office that was there on June 26, 2023. Oh, whose device is this? You see the Smithsonian's right here. And these two little Gallery Place and this other circle hanging out in Washington, D.C. You know who else is there? Homeland Security. You know who else is there? Secret Service. Buildings all over the place. Very curious. Now, another device, so they found probably a different device, is linking crooks, or that it's linked to crooks, so those two things in that Venn diagram, visited Plymouth, Massachusetts. So here's how the travel worked from our friends at Oversight. You see they've got a bunch of pings at the Pittsburgh International Airport, and he's being pinged, right? Hit him with the Starbucks ad. Hit him with the whatever is in airports. You know, hit him with this ad. Hit him with this. You know how Facebook knows everything about you? It's because it knows where you are. So then from Pittsburgh, he goes to Boston on March 1st. He's hanging out all over Boston. He hops on this line. You can see him pinging over here to Plymouth. March 1st, he hops on this, takes an Uber down here to Plymouth. Then Hotel 1620 Plymouth Harbor. He's at the hotel for 3 days. Then he goes back over to Boston Airport, March 3rd, and then back over home to Pittsburgh International, back on March 3rd. Was I saying May? It's March. All the dates are March. Reading is hard. So you can see, interesting. Why is he traveling around from Plymouth to Boston? What was that for? March 1st. Visiting family? Something explainable? Something benign? Don't know. We found a device linked to Crooks' work that also traveled to Butler, Pennsylvania, also on July 4th and July 8th. But after that, device was gone. Oh, now we need to know when the actual rally was scheduled. So does he get notice? He gets his phone. He says, oh, this is it. I'm going to go take him out. Then that device is gone, right? He says, they probably tracked this one, so he burns that. Found a device linked to Crooks' work. Goes and scopes the site. On August 30th last year, one device linked to Crooks visited Allegheny Arms, right? And this could even be dad. You could think about parents. The parents could be in this center of this Venn diagram because they might go visit the son at work. It's a work party, or they're going to pick up their kid or whatever. So maybe this was when dad purchased the gun. Don't really know. Now here's all the relevant locations within Bethel Park that are linked to both Crooks' home and his place of work. So those same devices hit all these locations. Work location was here, home location was over here, bunch of pings, also at the Allegheny Arms and Gunworks. Then a bunch of other stops. Tang Sudo Karate could be here, could be at a laundromat. Flora Park Center, another ping. South Park Golf Course, maybe golfing. This was near redacted. Don't know what that is. This is near redacted. Planet Fitness. We also saw high school, YMCA, school district. Could be also near these other locations, right? We don't know exactly what those are. Looks like they redacted those. But for those who are tracking this type of data, here's what they did. They said, we've identified devices that were located at Crooks' home and his work within the past year. There were at least 9 devices that were linked to these ad IDs. And yeah, it's not necessarily your name per se, right? Like your name is not batched in there. They aggregate the data and they anonymize it. So I think they hash it essentially. And then you get these ad IDs and then they track you to your ads. They basically, yeah, it's interesting stuff. It says, we are willing to cooperate with legitimate investigations and share further information. But for the protection of whistleblowers in our investigation, we will not be sharing further information with the Congressional Task Force due to the connective tissue between that entity, the FBI, the Secret Service, and other entities. And so for those of you who may have information, if you have leads, if you have tips, please email them at tips.oversightproject@heritage.org. And definitely follow this account, okay, because they are doing some awesome work in their heritage project. So awesome. Keep your eye on them. Very interesting report and interesting connections traveling around. Now they have this cell phone from him. And so presumably they're going to also know all of this and they're going to tell us what he was doing or what somebody was doing in Washington, D.C. Very strange. Someone who regularly visited Crooks' home and work also visited D.C. Interesting. Probably just wanting to learn a little bit about American history. Go visit the White House. Yeah, all right. So that is from the Oversight Project. We also have questions about the ties to foreign entities and the use of encrypted apps. Just the News had this breaking story. Says while Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle shoved her nose up at the congressional people, the FBI has now disclosed to Congress that the shooter used 3 encrypted communications apps ostensibly tied to Germany, Brussels, and New Zealand, and also possessed an arrest photo of another Michigan school shooter, the Crumbly shooting. So I don't know if this means that the apps are founded in these locations, like these are German apps or Brussels apps or New Zealand apps, or if he's talking to people in the apps to people in those locations. Now, in multiple briefings, FBI leaders told lawmakers that the 20-year-old assassin's his primary cell phone has become an important focal point of the probe, including 14,000 images that were found on it. Of what? According to multiple people. The FBI has not given us an update since J14. Now, the phone included an arrest photo and other information of Ethan Crumbly. Remember that? That was the terrible school shooting where both parents even got convicted because they were just like, yeah, go shoot him. Yeah, whatever. Who was convicted in the deadly shooting. This is from one source who's speaking on condition of anonymity. Now, the phone also included stock images, firearms and guns, other articles related to U.S. government figures, screenshot of online live coverage of the rally was there 10 minutes before he began shooting. He took a screenshot of the rally. One of the most tantalizing pieces of evidence from the phone, according to the sources, was 3 foreign encrypted platforms used by crooks that were apparently based in Germany, New Zealand, and Belgium. So the apps are not domestic apps. The encryption on the apps poses a significant challenge. The FBI's closed-door briefings also provided a far more detailed timeline about the events than Cheadle ever offered, including that the Secret Service first conducted a site survey at the Butler event on July 8th that included the AGR building. The survey was 5 days before the event and resulted in a security plan that relied on 3 concentric rings of security around the podium. Crooks visited Butler Farms twice before the shooting, once on J 7th and again at 10:30 on the morning. He returned. He's like, oh, this is easy. There is no security here. Goes, gets his gun, bought some ammo. I can shoot him here. No problem. The FBI also, he's like, there's nobody here. The FBI also, or he says, oh, yeah, perfect. They're opening the window for me. The FBI also told lawmakers at the Secret Service, he doesn't even have to know that, right? In order for the Secret Service to be complicit. He doesn't have to know that there's a window opened. There just needs to be a window opened. The FBI also told lawmakers the Secret Service was first notified at 5:51 on J13, early, about a suspicious person at the speaking venue. Information was relayed 1 minute later to the Secret Service team and to agents on the ground. That means Secret Service had at least 9 minutes warning before Trump even came out and began speaking, and 20 minutes before crooks began shooting. Those numbers are just devastating. That is like, come on, dude. 9 minutes? 1 minute before the first shots were fired, the Secret Service sniper was alerted. Oh no! Was alerted that there was a local police incident at the 3 p.m. position where Trump was speaking. Must have been the guy who fell off the roof. One of the Trump's detail agents began inquiring what was going on just before the first shot was fired. FBI said evidence that its agents recovered from Crooks' body or nearby after a counter sniper killed him included the AR-15 rifle, a remote transmitter, a receipt from Home Depot, his primary cell phone. The Bureau told lawmakers that evidence seized from his vehicle in the parking lot at Butler included 2 explosive devices that were set to function remotely. There was a drone in there, more advanced than the Secret Service, a tactical vest with plates in the front and back, 4 magazines full of the same ammo that was used in the shooting. There was also evidence seized from the rally, seized from his residence, was 14 additional weapons, 1 explosive device, a secondary cell phone, a laptop and a hard drive, and 3 USB devices. Agents said the most startling find thus far has been the complete absence of evidence revealing any political or ideological motive for the shooting. What could it be? I know a lot of people say he was a Trump fan. He's a Trump fan. Oh, so he wanted to go shoot him in the head? Is that what happened? A lot of fans do? On his laptop, Crooks visited websites about building explosives and left a message in an online gaming platform where he said July 13th will be my premiere. And I think that might be disputed or still in flux. But yep. What was on that phone? Who was he talking to? Why were these encrypted?
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna leave a link and you can watch this video and maybe subscribe to him. He's pretty knowledgeable. Um, and don't you find it funny that, well, the director of the Secret Service was like, had a smug attitude in the committee. I know it wasn't gonna get anywhere. Smug attitude, she had her nose turned up like a snob, um, and wouldn't give him any answers to anything. Only direct, like the press secretary does, directs them, back and all this other crap. Um, First, when it started with the debate between Trump and Biden, I heard, because and Trump was being very nice. I mean, he was actually behaving. He couldn't figure it out. He was nice. And he Biden mentioned, because they asked him, but Biden mentioned the Rona, and then all of a sudden, not too long after, because Biden said it was a cold, just an excuse because and then after that he supposedly contracted it. Big super spreader there. He's had several boosters of the vaccine. He's on the pills now, supposedly. And we haven't heard hide nor hair from him, other than he is stepping down from the race. And Giggles is going to be the new person. And then you go to the convention, which is in Chicago, which I don't know if they'll even get a good cheer on that one. But they're going, and then they got to vote on it like they did in the Republican one. Somebody says that she's gonna be beat out by Hillary, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't say for sure because I don't know. But isn't it suspicious that now all this stuff, they did all this stuff to drop Trump, to do something nefarious, to drop Trump, and if all else fails, and Biden, and he actually said it, and you probably know it, that I'm done with debates. It's time to put a bullseye on Trump. You tell me what's going on here. And now, who's running the White House? That's what people would like to know. Now, I did hear from Biden and talking to Kamala and all the crapola. And, the thing is with her, she's a freaking meathead. Dead from the neck up. She's not black. She may have a little bit of color in her skin, but she's not black. Her mother was Indian, from India, and I can't remember what her dad was, but he surely wasn't black. She may be a woman, like I said before, that has nothing to do with what you can do. Because I guarantee you, if she becomes the um, bigwig in the Oval Office, there are countries that do not follow women. I mean, there's going to be problems, big problems. They do not follow women. And so if I were you, I'd vote for the big T, the Orange Eagle. That's what people call him. Um, and do our best to try to make sure they don't do like they did the last time, which I know they did because I've seen them with my own two eyes. And I'm going to tell you this today is the day you start prepping. It's going to be some really rocky roads coming up. It's going to be very bad because who's ever in charge is probably those elites. And at the beginning of all this, you will own nothing and be happy. So, yeah. But I will leave that link there. And it's going to be very bumpy and maybe some real bad stuff. Also, Yellowstone had some sort of a thing happen to it. I mean, it's coming down. Maybe it is the hand of God. Well, not maybe. I know it is. I mean, he's the one that's kept things together. I mean, he's in control. And if they think they can mess around with him, I'm telling you, they need to get away and leave people be. Because they've already done some major damage to everybody and like this, and it's time to make peace with your Lord. You know, um, I would do it. I believe in the Lord, and I know what He can do, and I wouldn't be playing with Him. He can get very angry, and especially with what's happening with a lot of folk here in this country. I mean, people, that are on the right do a lot of praying. I do a lot of praying, and He answers it. So, with that said, I'll say, God bless all. Stay safe. Keep your head on a swivel. Be careful. Don't go into a crowd. If you see people with a mask on, they're in a big crowd, they're screaming and hollering, stay away from them. I look at it, it's not my fight. They want to act like fools, let them act like fools. So, with that said, I'll say goodbye and, not goodbye, but see you later. God bless y'all, and Jesus loves you. God bless.